Hi, this is Todd Danielson, the editorial director of Informed Infrastructure. I'm here at Autodesk University with Carolina Venegas Martinez. Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it right.
Okay, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, starting with your industry education professional background.
Yes, so I obtained my bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Universidad del Norte in Barranquilla, Colombia, but I also specialized in sanitary engineering, which I think is very old-fashioned, so let's have a slash environmental engineering. Then I moved to Spain and I did a master's degree in environmental technologies, and I also completed my PhD in science, in hydraulics and environmental science and engineering, where I focused my dissertation on wastewater treatment and how to remove nutrients for wastewater that has high levels of nitrogen, and using data to optimize the operations. Have like over 20 years of experience in the field, working in consulting, environmental agencies, serving in academia in highly strategic roles. And in 2019, I joined Autodesk and the industry strategy team as a strategy manager for the water industry.
Okay, so at Autodesk, you are the Water Industry Strategy Manager. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is and what are your tasks and your goals in that role, both in the short and the long term?
Yeah, so as a strategy manager, my role is to keep the finger on the pulse of the industry, define and support the go-to-market strategy, and also be the customer voice internally, so I can influence product development, research projects, initiatives, can be going to partner with additional technology providers, or acquiring companies that then become part of our portfolio, and also be the Autodesk voice outside of that space, and be the voice for our industry in general, or when I talk to customers as a thought leader. In terms of goals, long and near term, I would say that it's continue delivering value to our customers, mainly on continue driving and accelerating our digital project delivery strategy. That's one of the first pillars. The second one that I would say is really focusing on optimizing deliverables and processes across the life cycle, not only of the project, but also of the assets, of the different assets that we have in the water industry. And third, continue supporting an open technology ecosystem that our customers can use and they can leverage to leveling up the water and industry in general.
So you mentioned you were developing your strategy. Can you tell me a little bit what that strategy is?
Yeah, so as I said, our focus is continue growing in our core design and hydraulic modeling tools. We have an extensive portfolio that it connects from Civil 3D to InfoWorks ICM to Info Drainage and other solutions. So continue doubling down on our hydraulic modeling solutions and our core design tools, and expanding into digital operations with the most recent products that we have as part of the acquisition of Innovyze, that are the Info 360 offerings.
Okay, we've clearly established that you are an expert in the water infrastructure industry. Can you tell me a little bit about your assessment of water infrastructure in the United States?
Well, that's a really good question. The reality is that the industry is not where it needs to be. And if we can go back a little bit on time and see what the latest report of the American Society of Civil Engineers did with the report card, we were given a D in average. And it really varies depending on the different types of assets, like stormwater, drinking water, wastewater, levees, or waterways. So honestly, I don't like. I can't disagree with that status. What is worth mentioning, I would say, is the approach that the industry is taking and how the industry is looking at opportunities to change and embrace change, and change using technology. The ways that I see our customers planning assets, working on projects, even how governments are now prioritizing investment, the only way that I can kind of like summarize that is a wake-up moment. So even though the status, yes, it's not what it needs to be, I think that it is a positive forecast that we can take that level, that grade, into something much better if we continue doing the work that we're doing with the customers, and of course the customers embracing technology and using everything there that is out for their businesses.
Okay, obviously with the infrastructure, there's a lot of ways to improve it with the construction, but we're at a technology conference and you brought up the technology. What are some of the technologies that can be used to help improve the water infrastructure, both from Autodesk and some that perhaps aren't even Autodesk technologies?
So we continue, there are so many technologies out there, but we continue leading and developing and exploring additional things. So I would say that BIM is where we're leading, leaders in BIM, in building information modeling, and that's something that we continue pushing because we believe that that's the core of the digital transformation. And that digital transformation may look and feel different for every customer. And that's totally fine. The point is to start. So we continue pushing on BIM, positioning BIM, enhancing BIM, but we can also mention generative design. We can mention analysis and simulation powered by AI, and AI is having a big moment, as we just heard in the general session that we announced Autodesk AI today. So it is very exciting because all those technologies can be really powered by AI. So the cloud-based platforms where we're introducing or integrating with partners to bring more immersive experiences in design, in construction. I think there's a lot of opportunities there to make the planning, the design, construction, and operation of the assets much better.
Okay, yeah, speaking of AI, it's been in the news everywhere, and it's been used a lot here at this conference already. It is the buzzword of the day. Let's step back. What are your thoughts on just AI in general? How do you feel like, are you concerned that it's going to be the downfall of humanity, or is it going to be the savior?
I know for a lot of people it may be from super scary to super exciting and every single point in between. Personally, I see AI as a great opportunity to unleash a level of creativity, honestly. Even if we look back in 5 years ago, the conditions that we're working on right now, they are very different. Personally, as an industry, we're facing challenges that we didn't have before. Talking in terms of water, hydraulic models have shifted significantly. The amount of data that the technology or the world itself is creating is so massive that it's almost impossible for human beings to take advantage of all of that and make things better. So I see it as an opportunity. I don't think that it's going to be a replacement. I think it's going to be more of upskilling the industry and really taking advantage of, hey, you're doing a task that is repetitive, that is unproductive, that is prone to error. Let's plug in AI into that to ensure that those tasks are done by an engine that can learn from that can reduce or avoid that error, or take those massive data sets and analyze climate, methodology, future events, past events, present events, and ensure that all that data and all those changes are understood in real time so we can make better decisions and, of course, plan, design, build, and operate better assets.
Okay, well, until recently, a lot of these processes were known as like machine learning. It was relatively similar, but just today, Autodesk introduced Autodesk AI. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
And actually, tell me a little bit about that specifically, and then how that's different from the past machine learning iterations.
Well, I think this is part of the different efforts and research projects that, as a company, we're doing. When we look back 10 years ago, that when Autodesk has started talking or working on AI, and we introduced generative design, right? It's about that iteration. Yeah, you can iterate. You can have a space, or you can have a model and run different iterations to see different options. Well, with machine learning, I think that the part is introducing that learning component. What I envision and I say is something that we maybe see coming soon, or what I won't say soon, but down the road, is when we look at the life cycle of the project, and most of the time we look at that linearly, right? Like we see planning, design, build, and operate and maintain. Instead of it being a linear approach, it needs to be like a cycle, right? So the machine learning component, what I say is, the learnings that are happening in the operation should be fitting into what is planned for the next asset, for the improvement of those assets. That's really where we can see that there is no data lost in between the handover of the different phases, but the data is really flowing consistently across the different life cycles, phases of the life cycles, and the owners and operators don't have data silos or broken systems where they don't talk to each other, but they can have a consistent single source of truth when they can optimize the operation of the asset they have. So that's what I see, not only the power of AI and what we're doing with the iterations and bringing in more data being connected to the different solutions, but it's also how the machine can continue learning from those previous experiences. And our customers, I'm pretty sure they will value that approach of, hey, if I did a successful project in the past, why I need to start from scratch? If I can take those lessons learned and start from that point and then continue maturing that's a big win.
Okay, so our audience is a lot of civil and structural engineers. So if you're trying to give them some advice on AI and how to maybe just get started so that they can overcome if they're afraid of it or not sure what to do with it, maybe a way that they can kind of begin the process and kind of start to adjust to this world that's coming?
Just give it a chance. That's my best piece of advice. Give it a chance because it is already here. So for some basic day-to-day things to technology, to our work lives, it's definitely going to do our job, our work better. I think it's going to help us be more productive. It's going to take us to a different level of creativity, I would say. It's part of the digital transformation journey that we've been experiencing. It may sound different, but when we were, as engineers, civil or structural engineers, were in the past doing drawings on paper. Like I was trained like that in college. We have those big drawing tables, and then your back is aching and all of that. Moving from paper to CAD was a huge step. So it's not the same, but it's that level of transformation that we need just to embrace, because it's going to help us as a society, as an industry in general. So give it a chance. There are many benefits, and just start with data integration, for example, how you can use big data sets and see options, consequences that you would have had any chance to look at if you didn't have the power of AI to help you do that. Optimization, that's another good piece. After the pandemic, we saw what's happening with labor shortage, the impact on the supply chain. That was a big challenge that we see our customers facing, and optimizing your operations with the power of technology and artificial intelligence, and or with machine learning as well. You can see where you can optimize your energy consumption or your chemical usage if you're talking in a treatment plant space. So you can plan for better operations, you can plan for better projects. Just give it a chance.
Okay, so they don't need to bite everything off at once. Start with something small, maybe ask other colleagues or others who are already kind of getting their feet wet and seeing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't need to do all this at once, but eventually you're going to need to be working with it.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you can see many comparisons from getting into a new phone. You can wait until it's out there and you love it. You can start learning and be one of those early adopters. Give it a chance. There are so many benefits to be using those are already within our solutions. We're working more and more to integrate that. Is like was also announced today, the machine learning deluge solution for that is integrated with the info drainage. And again, it's a great example. In the past, customers would have had to spend hours to see where the water was channeling and ponding in different areas. and iterate and coordinate, and it takes a lot of time. Now with that new tool that is in info drainage, they can do that in seconds. And they can move the storm controls, they can plan for better controls. So again, start using it. My thing is just give it a chance. I think it's part of what it is. Optimizing, predicting is part of the conditions changing so quickly. Give the chance to look at options that you would have considered before.
Okay, thanks. In these interviews, I really like to try and get as much advice to those other engineers out there. Moving away from AI a little bit, is there something else in the water infrastructure industry that's a trend or something that they should be thinking about incorporating into their work?
Well, there is one that I want to call out in here, and it's the one water approach. Historically, we've seen the water industry being looking at the individual isolated assets. In many ways, here in the US, utilities don't operate all the different assets. I may be a Department of Public Works that I only work on sewer systems and stormwater systems, but I don't manage drinking water systems. Or I just like collect all the wastewater and send it over to someone else to treat it. So that concept of is one drop of water. It's one drop of water that follows the water cycle. That one water approach is so needed in the industry. I've seen it being more widely adopted. It's becoming a common language in our industry, which is very positive. And at the same time, looking at end-to-end solutions, end-to-end platforms. That's gonna really help us connect those different assets, protect the most wonderful resource that we have, that is water. Water is life. It drives economy in many ways. We are made of water in a very large percentage. No one can live without water. And in that same wake-up moment that we're living, my advice to this current generation and the new generation of water engineers is, let's make it relevant. Water is taken for granted. Our assets, most of them are underground. They're not exciting as the sphere or a stadium or a bridge, but you can power any of that without water. So let's make it relevant. Next time when you're planning or updating a master plan for a city, think about that differently. Give it the chance to look at things differently. When you're working on a project, ask yourself how else you can do something different, how many options you can evaluate in a matter of minutes or hours and not months. When you're operating an asset, look at ways that you can optimize that and really help us as an industry achieve better sustainable outcomes. That would be my thing.
All right, Carolina, that was great. That was a really great answer and a great interview. I felt like we covered just about everything that I wanted to cover, and I know you're very busy. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you feel like you'd want to add while we're here? It is a great time to be in the water industry. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I'm so passionate about it. It connects people, it creates communities, but we were being behind. Because there may be multiple reasons why, but I don't think that that's the case anymore. I think that the industry is really looking at options to make us be more effective, more productive, more sustainable. And when we talk about sustainability, water is the first thing that comes to mind. So let's make it relevant. Let's make it different. It's a perfect time to be in the water industry. It's great to hear and learn about all the new and cool technologies that we're working on. Get to work with us, engage with us. We're here to listen, to work with you, to partner with you. We want to ensure that we can bring the water industry to a different level, to the level that it needs to be. And we have a fantastic opportunity, so let's do it together.